तव कथामृतं तप्त जीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमंगलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये बुनिदा जनाः। Let us resume our discussion on Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual discourse. Spiritual discourses with his intimate devotees at the Dakshineshwar temple premises. On 22nd February 1885, on a Sunday following his birthday celebration on that year, Sri Ramakrishna was talking to Narendranath. His advice to the different groups of people are to be noted and should not be generalized. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he has a variety of devotees of different categories. An ideal teacher comes down to the level of the people, the student, the disciple, and gives an advice suited to that particular person. It cannot be followed by one and all. His advice to the young spiritual aspirants, Tyagi Juma, and in advice to the Grihi Bhakta are different and should be understood and implemented accordingly. Here we find he gives advice to Narendranath, and today we will take up his advice to Surendranath. He is a householder devotee. You will find his advice is completely different, but both the advice will lead the aspirants to the same goal. Goal is one, but the path is different. Now, we discussed the condition of Narendranath. He was in a great distressed condition. He lost his father, he had no job, he has great financial difficulties. He was going from door to door in search of a job to meet both ends. He has a crisis for even food for his young sisters and brothers. Now, Sri Ramakrishna already said that we should not abuse spirituality for solution of mundane problems. This is an important message. Usually we want to use spiritual methods for solving secular problems. It is very natural. We come to temples, we come to holy men, come to God for solution of our problems of the world. Now this is a particular message to Narendranath, not to householders. Because Narendranath has to be a full-timer devoted to God and God alone. He has to live a life of renunciation. Narendranath is designed to lead a life of renunciation, leaving his hearth and home. He was not to remain in the world and lead a spiritual life. For him the advice was that he should be totally oriented to spiritual means. Then the question is, who will solve his secular problems? If he is the eldest son of the family, if he is not to take care of his family problems, who will? Now the silent reply is that when one resigns his entire life to God, then it is for God to take care of his problems, secular problems. One who has renounced and given up the world, then God takes care of his secular responsibilities also. There is a solution. He is not doing, he is not evading, he is not escaping his social responsibility. Rather, he is taking up the greater social responsibility, compromising his individual social problems. That is permitted. But then that requires a mentality, mental attitude, mental development, mental growth. And that is called jnana, knowledge. So what is knowledge? Here Sri Ramakrishna says, he gives an example here of an erudite person, Krishna Kishore, who is to an adept in the Advaitic knowledge. But then Sri Ramakrishna said that he was totally upset due to his secular problem. Now this needs a proper reconciliation, that those who are in spiritual bent of mind, nevertheless they are living in the world, and it is quite natural that they will have to face the secular problems in life. And how to resolve? The common people, they try to resolve their secular problems by secular ways. But here, those who are supposed to be spiritually oriented person, they should not compromise their spiritual methods for secular ends. So the solution is they have to be more spiritual in the true sense of the term. Now when Sri Ramakrishna went to the house of Krishna Kishore, he saw that he is totally upset because Krishna Kishore said the municipal tax lawyers came to his house and said he is a defaulter, so unless he pays the tax within a certain deadline, due date, then his belongings will be confiscated and he will take it away. So he was upset. He has a deep financial crisis. Now Sri Ramakrishna advised him saying that you always say that you are beyond this body and mind. You are like the sky. Why don't you apply the same principle now also? Let them come and take away your belongings. Do they belong to you? You are not affected. Why are you upset? So in theory, you are saying you are beyond this body and mind, you have nothing to do with this world, but in reality, you are upset because there is some disturbance in your physical arrangements. That is your theoretical knowledge you are not able to implement in your practical life. You are a spiritual person. So if you have achieved this theoretical knowledge, then this is jnana. And the ajnana is your identification with your body and mind. You have not been able to reconcile between jnana and ajnana. And this is the same solution approach he is telling to Narendranath. Narendranath is the topic of discussion. Now, naturally, the question was, he was a person of the exalted character, highly elevated soul. Even he was subjected to bitter financial crisis. That is, it may happen to anyone. So, person who is a man of total spirituality, then Thakur says, you have to go beyond knowledge and ignorance. Here he is giving another example of Guru Vasishtha. Guru Vasishtha was a perfect jnani. He was a teacher of Ramchandra. Guru Vasishtha was a venerable person and he was knowledge personified. But when he was infested his family problem, he lost his son. Naturally, this is a very great blow in anybody's life. He was a householder. He could not contain himself. He became upset. He was shedding tears. Seeing that Lakshmana was upset, he said, Guru Vasishtha is a jnani. He says, I am the Atman. At the same time, he is upset, totally broken down at the loss of his son. How it is reconciled? So Ramchandra advised Lakshmana that look, who has jnana, he has also ajnana. Who is holding to light, he is also affected by the darkness. So the solution is go beyond jnana and ajnana. You have to understand the statement. Now, ajnana is the separation which takes us away from God. God is very close to us, but we are separated by the veil of ignorance. That's why ajnana is called darkness. So when you have a darkness, in order to dispel darkness, what we do? We bring a source of light. Now we have to understand what is the purpose of bringing the light. The light is brought in order to dispel the darkness. Light has no purpose of its own. When God is here, I am not able to see God because of darkness. Then I require a source of illumination. The illumination was necessary not only to dispel the darkness, illumination necessary to dispel the darkness and see God. Darkness was not having any problem for me, but darkness was hindering the vision of God. My purpose was to see God. I am not able to see God because of the darkness of ignorance. So in order to dispel the darkness of ignorance, I bring a light of knowledge. The having brought the light of knowledge, if you hold to the light, then you miss the mark. It is counterproductive. You have got the light, but you have forgotten the purpose of bringing the light. The purpose of bringing the light to see God. So God is ignored. God is ignored. We are holding that I am knowledgeable, I am knowledge, I have got the light. So light and darkness makes no difference in our life. So Sri Ramakrishna says, whoever has got the light, he is aware of the darkness. The goal is to give up both light and darkness and hold to God. When you hold to God, then there is no separation. God is Ananda Swarup. Light has no Ananda. Knowledge has no Ananda. Knowledge helps us to get in touch with the Ananda. So having brought the light and dispelled the darkness, we should focus it to God. See God and solve the problem of life. That is the advice he gives to Narendranath. He says clearly here, to Narendranath, let me tell you something else. Go beyond knowledge and ignorance. The Sri Ramachandra is advising Lakshmana, seeing his surprise at the sad plight of Guru Vasishtha. Lakshmana said to Rama, this is amazing. Rama, even Vasishtha is so grief-stricken. Why Vasishtha should be grief-stricken? He has realized God. God is with him. Rama's answer was, brother, he who has knowledge has ignorance as well. He who is aware of light is also aware of darkness. He who knows good also knows bad. He who knows happiness also knows misery. Brother, go beyond duality, beyond pleasure and pain, beyond knowledge and ignorance to Narendra. So I am asking you to go beyond both knowledge and ignorance. God is Trigunatita. God is beyond happiness and misery, darkness and light, knowledge and ignorance. He is a state beyond these stages. These are within the domain of mind. When you transcend the mind, reach God, then these become irrelevant in our life. They have no reach to disturb our mental equilibrium. When you go down to this level, we leave God and be in the realm of duality, pleasure and pain, knowledge and ignorance, light and darkness, then only we are affected. But when we elevate ourselves to high up in the sky, then these dualities do not touch us anymore. We remain in equilibrium, equanimity. Ananda, Ananda hi hai. So this was his advice to Narendranath. Now let us see, very interestingly, as a contrast, M presents the example of Surendranath Mitra next. This is a birthday celebration. Both the young spiritual, that Tyagi Bhakta, they were there, and also the household and devotees. one of the prominent householder devotees were Surendranath Mitra. Now, Surendranath was a distinguished householder devotee because he had a great role to play in the Ramakrishna movement. Sri Ramakrishna used to love him and feel concerned about him very much. Now he is giving an advice to Surendranath. It is very important because we will be able to know that his advice was different. The first thing the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna tells us, the devotees were seated on the floor, Surendra sat by the side. The master cast an affectionate look to him and began to give him advice. ये लक्षणीय है. श्री रामकृष्ण सुरेंद्र की ओर स्नेहपूर्ण दृष्टि से देख रहे हैं और बातचीत के सिलसिले में उन्हें अनेक उपदेश दे रहे हैं. ठाकुर सुरेंद्र प्रति सस्नेहे दृष्टिपात करितेছেন ও কথা ছলে ताके नाना उपदेश दितेছেন. This is important. He was as if more concerned for the householder devotees. Now, Surendra also was in distressed condition, not financially, but his mind was upset. He was restless. That is the problem with householder devotees. Most of them do not have financial problem, but they are not at peace. It's a common experience. Now, Sri Ramakrishna was making fun of Narendra's problems. He was joking. He was laughing at the problem of Narendranath. Whereas he is deeply concerned, he is having an affectionate look, which is quite expected. When a problem has a problem, we give a sympathetic attitude, सहानुभूति. भगवान गृह भक्त के प्रति सहानुभूतिपूर्ण है, ये पहले बता रहे हैं. He is deeply concerned with the mundane problems of the householder devotees, and he knows the householder devotees are in a very difficult situation, because on the one hand they have to maintain the household duties, on the other they have to orient their mind towards God. So this is the attitude of Sri Ramakrishna. In our younger days, when he went to our Gurudev, President Maharaj, Bireshwaranandaji, we were surprised. He used to tell us, you go and learn from the devotees, householder devotees. We used to say that we have come here to become monk. We have to learn from the great, that monastic personalities, the saints and seers. What to learn from the devotees? We have left hearth and home. He said, no, you have to go and learn from the householder devotees. And he used to explain, look, they are discharging their duties of life, giving so much time for their office work, for their household, and even then they are saving some time to come here to offer their prayers to Guru Maharaj and devote some time towards the spiritual practices. Notwithstanding, there's so much burden on their shoulder, whereas you people have nothing to do of that sort, and little bit of spiritual practice is making you so much worried. Learn from them how much they are sincere, and then your lesson should be how much more sincere you should be by looking at them. If they are so sincere, notwithstanding their responsibilities, then without the responsibilities, how much more sincere you have to be. That lesson you must learn from them. Then you could understand, yes, he's saying the right thing. And that is reflected by Sri Ramakrishna's attitude to the devotees. Surendranath स्नेहपूर्ण दृष्टि से अवलोकन करना है, एंड उनको जो उपदेश दे रहे हैं कथा छले, every word is meaningful, that by way of stories, by way of anecdotes, he is advising Surendra how to live in the world. It is not a lecture, a pravachan. Narendranath, he was giving a discourse, what he should do, what he should not. Here he is trying to make him understand by way of soft conversation, because he is deeply concerned about the householder devotees and presently to Surendranath. So through Surendranath he is giving message to the householder devotees. That's why it is important. Very, very important statement. Now what does he say? And whatever Sri Ramakrishna is saying, that is extremely relevant for today also. That is important. We should not think that it was a thing of the old. अभी इसका कोई तात्कालिकता नहीं है, कोई प्रासंगिकता नहीं. It doesn't have any relevance now. वो पुराने बात है, ऐसी नहीं है. Whatever he says, we find it is more relevant now than it was before. That I will explain why. It's more relevant now. So that's why the gospel has to be read, understood, and implemented in life, or else it is all bogus, waste of time. These Thakur's words are not only to be read, cogitated, understood, and then it should be implemented. जीवन में अपनाना चाहिए, नहीं तो ये पढ़ना एक बातों का बात रह जाएगा, एक विचार ही रह जाएगा. What was his advice to Surendra? Come here every now and then, period. That is his advice. बीच बीच में आते जाना. That is the advice. Now, why is it necessary to visit the holy places? That we have to understand. But that is his advice. The solution to the mundane problems is to be in touch with God or holy men as frequently as possible. This is the prescription. You have to understand what he says, what is his advice. And at the outset, we should ask ourselves, are we able to follow this advice? Straight cut question. Now, especially after Corona pandemic, people think that they can solve their spiritual problems by internet, by online. That is not the advice. One has to physically come in holy places, near God, holy company. By internet, virtual presentation, then spirituality remains a virtuality, not a reality. This is the direct advice of Sri Ramakrishna. We should first understand, analyze why is he saying that. Then he explains why is he saying. He is not giving a blanket order. He is telling Surendra that now Calcutta is not very far from Dakshineshwar, but his statement of fact that devotees could hardly find time to come. So his advice is for the householder devotee, बीच बीच में आते रहना. Now we find first of all that Thakur is concerned with his devotees. Now it's not that after he left his body, he is no more concerned. He is present. He is present amongst us in the form of his Sangha. The Sangha, Ramakrishna order, is his Virat Sharir. Thakur is present in this Sangha and he is helping the devotees so that they can realize God in this particular life. That is the goal. The goal is set both for householders and for monks, monastic people. Same goal. Method is different. Now, for the householder here, he is telling that beech beech mein aate rehna. Now, as long as he was present, physically present, people used to come to Dakshineshwar. Now we say he is no more. Where to go? He is present in his Sangha. He has opened so many centers of his Sangha in different parts of the country. So whatever is the nearest place of Thakur's ashrama, we can at least visit. What is the harm? He is telling the solution is बीच बीच में आते रहना. और कुछ नहीं बोला. He did not say that यार आके आपको तपस करना पड़ेगा, डोनेशन देना पड़ेगा, आपको यहाँ पर भजन करना पड़ेगा. ये सब कुछ नहीं बोला. Just visit. But that we cannot do. That is the tragedy of life. I was thinking that when Sri Ramakrishna has come to the doorstep, he is not present in Amarnath or Pashupatinath or Kedarnath, where to make a long pilgrimage to see God. God has come at the doorstep now. Sri Ramakrishna has made things so easy for the devotees. He has come at the doorstep of the devotees and asking, inviting them, come, as Jesus used to invite, call the devotees, come, all ye that are heavily laden, come unto me, I shall give you rest. मैं तुम्हारा समस्या समाधान कर दूंगा, जरा हमारे पास आ जाओ. आना पड़ेगा. Unless you come, nothing will happen. That's why he didn't say that from there you write a letter or send a person or send some money. That is not the solution. You have to physically come. I was thinking that when our devotees are not fools, they are very intelligent people, they all know us and they know they have faith on us, they have great respect. Why are not they coming? What is the problem? What is standing in the way? My personal observation is this, that Mahamaya is greatly active here. Mahamaya does not want the devotees to be liberated. It is so easy now. Ramakrishna is making such a thing easy. She is standing in the way. She will make their mind in such a way that they do not, because if they come, they will be liberated. Such a simple thing. भगवान पास जाने से ही मुक्त हो जाएगा. इतना सहज जब कर दिया, Mahamaya is greatly active. They will somehow create some confusion in their mind. They know, no, ये बोला है, it is not necessary. आज के दिन में वो इंटरनेट से हो जाएगा, हम यूट्यूब में देख लेंगे, चैनल देख लेंगे, जाने का क्या फ़ायदा है, जाने से मुक्ति हो जाएगी, बुद्धि नहीं है. So they are ignoring the golden call of Sri Ramakrishna, and this confusion is made by Muhammad. That is not now. That is starting from the very beginning of creation. Muhammad is always active so that they do not come to God. Now we have to analyze. We have to understand that why should we be perplexed by this delusion of Mahamaya? God has called us, we shall follow and see for ourselves whether it makes a difference. And then why is it necessary? Sri Ramakrishna is explaining, he is rationalizing to Surendra and to us. He is telling the advice of his Guru. He is not telling his words in order to make it more effective. Sri Ramakrishna, you see, he is not telling this is my advice. He is telling the advice of my Guru. My Guru used to say, तोतापुरी का एडवाइस यही है. उन्होंने क्या बताया? नागा कहा करता था, नंगटा, the naked one, that is Totapuri ji. He would not take the name of his Guru, as is the usual thing. The Guru's name should not be taken. So he used to call him the naked one, because he was Paramahansa Paribrajak. So नागा कहा करता था, लोटा रोज रगड़ना चाहिए, नहीं तो मैला पड़ जाएगा, साधु संग सदैव ही आवश्यक है. बस. When Naga used to say, Totapuri used to say, कि if you have a vessel, metal vessel, but naturally the metal vessel will collect dirt and dust, and it has to be cleaned regularly. Once cleaning will not do. The moment you clean, the metal will shine. The shining brightness, illumination of the metal surface gets diminished by contamination of the pollution around. This is natural. So wherever the devotees are, it is but natural that their mind will be contaminated with the pollution around. What is the pollution? Pollution is not the environmental pollution. Pollution is the thoughts of the world, worldly thoughts, worldly conversations, thoughts which are not concerned with God. If you can kindly review, it's a matter of serious consideration, because you have to fight against Mahamaya. It's a matter to be reviewed when you are in your respective household stations. Where is the scope for the topic of God? Everything is looking around worldly pursuits, worldly achievements, worldly profit and loss, gain. So there is nothing, not a word of the conversation of God. So then what is the scope for remembering God? So naturally the mind will be polluted. If the mind is constantly subjected into worldly thoughts, worldly conversations, worldly discussions, the mind will be tainted with the worldly these thoughts. So when the mind is tainted, then it cannot reflect on God, because God and the world are at opposite with each other. So in order to make the mind fresh, the recharged, what has to be done? Either you do intense tapasya, which is not possible for the householder. The easiest thing is to go in the holy company. You go to the holy company, then by their company you become recharged again. Either to retire in solitude, either to go away from your hearth and home for 2-3 days, or you be in the company of holy men and the holy place. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says, come to me. Now wherever Sri Ramakrishna is present, either physically or in an spiritual dimension through his Sangha, through his appearance, there you get discharged just by simply going. When a mobile telephone is plugged with the socket, then automatically it gets discharged. It doesn't have to do anything. There's no exercise. It stays there for some time and is recharged, fully charged. But unless it is recharged periodically, what will happen? It will be discharged. It cannot function properly. That is what happening to us. So the solution is, as the pot has to be washed repeatedly, similarly, the mind has to be refreshed by visiting the holy places or holy company. This is a simple solution, and that is the advice he gives to Surendra. Notwithstanding any constraints in his life, there are a lot of constraints. He is not able to his practice, spiritual practice to such degree. See, his advice is come here. Now he continues further, he says, now as I said, he had differential advice for the monastic people, people of renunciation and people of the world. गृही एवं सन्यासियों के लिए अलग उनका उपदेश है. And he clarifies this here. Parishkar, the renunciation of woman and gold is for sannyasins, not for you. It is not for you, clearly saying, it is not for you. You are not supposed to renounce woman and gold. You have to remain amidst woman and gold, otherwise you cannot remain in the world. The place of world, गृह में अभी नारियों एवं अर्थ धन उसके साथ रहना पड़ता है, देर इसको गृह कहलाता है. So for the solution for you, now and then you should go into solitude and call on God with a yearning heart. Your renunciation should be mental. Now the Grees are not given any special concession. We need to understand. We need not take it for granted that they have to live a life of enjoyment. The method is renunciation for both. Tyage naike amritattva manashu. Let us not have any confusion here. By renunciation alone, immortality is reached. Now the method of the sannyasin is they have to renounce internally and externally. Whereas the Grees, they have to renounce internally, not externally. They have to remain in the world amidst woman and gold, amidst Vishaya, amidst worldly thoughts and pleasures, but internally they must be man of God. In order to make this distinction possible, their method is to come out of the worldly atmosphere now and then and stay in solitude for 2-3 days. Someone asked, do you have to renounce our hearth and home forever? But no. Now and then, for 2-3 days, you come away from your hearth and home, not by internet, not by virtual presentation. You have to come physically. Physically, you have to come away of your household and stay for 2-3 days. Now the person asks, someone else not here, that if he cannot do, he says, if you cannot do that, then at least you compensate it by holy company. Be in touch with God or God man for some time periodically. So, some people want to make it a compromise. They say that if holy company is necessary, then why don't we invite the monks in our house? So then we meet both ends. We don't have to go the holy man is come to my house, I feed them sumptuously and the work is over. That is not the solution. He did not say, call me in your house and finish your holy company. So you have to come because you have to understand the environment of the world is the distracting factor. You have to come away from the environment. Living in that vibration, it will be not that effective. It will be effective but not that effective. By calling a monk in your house and feeding him will not be the solution to this problem. You have to understand that your mind is not to be blamed. The mobile is naturally it is being discharged every moment. Every moment the mobile is being discharged. So at the end of the day you have to get it discharged. Not the fault of the mobile. So our mind is naturally being polluted by the worldly environment. In order to save the mind, recharge it, then we have to periodically come away. So my proposition is, my advice is this to the devotees, one and all, repeatedly, that you don't have to come every day. Come at least once a week. But unfortunately, the devotees are not, especially after the post-corona epidemic. Now the devotees are finding it more cozy that it is a much easier problem, easier method by looking up the Google's internet and seeing some this holy discourses, staying wherever they are. Discourses are not necessary. He did not say you come here to hear my discourse. The importance, you have to come away. You have to come away physically from your worldly environment in order to allow the mind to get discharged on its own. That is the main understanding. The mind will be discharged. Only you have to allow the mind to come away of the vibration. It's a constant magnetic influence in the world, in the worldly environment. So you have to come alone. That is also important. If you come, some people are coming with an entire family and make it a family trip. That is also good to a certain extent. But here also the effect is not there. Persons are, I am getting to such details for the benefit of our understanding. Some people are coming with an entire household. After coming to the ashrama, he is more busy to take care of his young son than to look at God. While Arati, he is more concerned how to take care of the son. Somehow he is spending the time. So that way it doesn't make any sense. You have to understand what is the purpose. Purpose is not that family trip here. Let the family members come, but each one has to approach God individually. It is journey of the lone to the lone. You have to reach God individually, not with a group, with a congregation. For that, you have to approach God individually and come away of the environment. If you carry the worldly atmosphere and come to the holy place and spend some time and go, that is simply you are fulfilling the advice to the letter, but not to the spirit. You are following the advice to the letter. I have come to the ashrama, but not to the spirit. Coming to the ashrama with the purpose of orienting my mind towards God. मन को ईश्वर केंद्रित करने के लिए आश्रम में भगवान के पास जाना चाहिए. This is not a ritual. This is not a formality. This should be an earnest yearning prayer to God in tune with His advice. We will continue this topic further in our next interaction. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampadhrita vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Let's close now with a chanting in chorus in the name of God. सब एक साथ भगवान का नाम करें. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम राम कृष्ण, हरि ओम. Announcements. Next Sunday, 31st of July, we will have a day-long celebration, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. You are aware that the government of India is celebrating the 75th year of this independence for a series of programs from 12th January 2022 to 15th August. In that series, we are going to have a national seminar on Bharat Amrit Vivekanand, India essence, the cream of India, the essence of India is Swami Vivekanand. There will be a day-long seminar from 9 to 5:30. So there will be very prominent, a set of prominent speakers like Bikram Singh, Arunima Sinha, Swami Atma Shraddhananda from Kanpur, Swami Shuddhitananda from Mayavati, President, and then Swami Vishwatmanandaji from Banaras, and Raviraj Singh from Allahabad, and of course Shobhit Narang and a group of panelists, and Honorable Minister Asim Arun of Social Welfare will be the chief guest. So that's why next, mainly it is for the youth, but there will be a handful number of adult observers also. Since the seats are limited, we have make it online for others. Those who are distant participants, they have no other way but other than online. But those who are local, some of them may come here. For that, registration is necessary because seats are limited. That is going on first come first served basis. And also we are having a series of competitions here. For 5 types of competitions are being held in different schools, in our nursing school also, for the students from class 10 onwards up to high school, the age group from 16 to 25, on competition on elocution. The Swami, that Bharat ki 100 saal elocution competition, essay writing competition, then painting competition, then poem writing and yogasana. The competitions are being held, and the award winners will be called here on the following Sunday, 7th of August. Then in the afternoon there is a program from 4 to 6 where the prizes will be given, and this Azadi का अमृत महोत्सव का पालित किया जाएगा. So all of you are welcome to participate in the YouTube in these programs, or those who can come, they can come with proper pre-registration. And as usual today there will be the youth program on the personality development, व्यक्तित्व का विकास, वो और भारतीय व्याख्यान पर आधारित lectures from Colombo to Almora, and evening there will be the Ram Nam Sankirtan because it is Ekadashi day. In this next Sunday program, there will be a special feature that we are calling the youth from our Bhav Prachar centers. The seats are very limited, so we have told about maximum 100 people from our Bhav Prachar units. But so far, very limited number has come, so hardly 15 or 20. So we are not much interested because there is a lot of that youth, local youth, they want to come. But we made it a priority of our Bhav Prachar units. If they come 10 per center, they are welcome. But unfortunately, our Bhav Prachar centers are saying that we cannot mobilize. So if they come, they are welcome to stay us in a guest house. It's all free for them. The local youth, they have to pay 50 rupees and adults 100 rupees. But our Bhav Prachar unit people and our nursing college students, they are all free. Nursing college, they want to come in a whole proportion, but we cannot take him. They have got 340 students, so we cannot accommodate them. We said maximum 100, 60 to 100 maximum. So we are selecting, and local units are coming. So now we'll have to wind up that our Bhav Prachar units, we have to make a figure, and whatever is remaining, we have to sell the tickets for the local youth. There is a great response because the people who are coming, they are very inspiring speakers. That Arunima Sinha, Vikram Singh, Raviraj Singh, then Shobhit Narayan, then there is Gopabandhu Patanayak, then there is Pooja Agarwal, who is the co-founder of Ram Swarup University, then that Shikha Tripathi, that bankers ka director. So a lot of very important people are coming to share their understanding of Swami Vivekananda for human excellence and for the independence of India. And our Swamijis are also very exalted speakers. Some Shuddhidananda, the president of Advaita Ashrama, he is a golden speaker. And some Atmashraddhananda from Kanpur, and Vishwatananda from Banaras, etc. So those who are much interested and they want to that recharge their mobile and wash their utensil, they can come physically, or else at least over internet they can participate. Thank you.